what people are listening for. And that's my favorite part about Clubhouse is we really get to learn, not for people to listen to us, but to learn what people are listening for, to write down the nuggets that resonate with us and utilize a repository or a system to access these nuggets and questions. And so this is the listening for segment. Bring your own questions. I'll bring the answers. So please line up. Jakey Bakey, happy birthday, my friend. His birthday's January 8th on Sunday. I can't wait to celebrate your birthday with everyone. Welcome, Jake.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you so much. Happy Friday. Can't wait to see you, Amelia. Today is Friday, January 6th. Welcome, everybody. We are in the Breakfast with Champions, and this next hour will be David's free Friday training that he's been doing for over 23 years. So let's continue to share the room. Let's share out the room. You can do that at the bottom. There's a little square with an arrow. If you push a little square with the arrow, you can invite your friends, your family, the whole community on text message, Clubhouse, Twitter, wherever your favorite social media platform is. Today's topic is BYOQ. So you bring your questions, Dave will bring the answers. So feel free to raise your hand there at the bottom or back channel me, and we will aim to bring you up to ask a question today. And then also, let's take a quick second. Follow the people next to you. Follow the people on stage. We really are creating an unbelievable community today. And then quickly as we move forward, but today David is at the Wynn Las Vegas here at CES, and he'll be doing a free community meetup for whoever can make it at 11 a.m. Pacific time at the Wynn at Blue Wire Studios. So if anyone can make it, we would love to see you there. So Dave, I'll pass it back off to you if you want to start maybe taking a question online on Zoom, and then we'll bring more people up here on Clubhouse.
Yeah, I will. And if anyone doesn't know where our studio is at the Wynn, it's in the lobby right by the buffet. So love to have anyone, whether you, your friends, family are around on all these different platforms, please swing by. We had an extraordinary one on Wednesday. We got some incredible people as well, Jake. I think we have Steven Jackson, Bob Menery. We have the CEO of Kickstarter. There's some incredible people swinging by with us and also teaching us their secret sauce, their secrets to success, their playbook to success. Anyway, let's start with what people are listening for. I'll start with the first question. How have you gotten out of depression when you have things stacked against you or things are going wrong? Well, remember, what we do, say, think, believe, and feel are indicative of the trajectory in which we're on. Even though we can't be cognizant of progress, we can be cognizant of behavior, notating that behavior aggregates in the trajectory towards what we think we want. I'm going to repeat this question and let me know what you think this person wants. How have you gotten out of depression when you have things stacked against you and things are going wrong? How have you been aware of or indicated that there's interference in your life between you and the source, the almighty, omniscient, all-powerful source, when you are on a trajectory of your potential with pain, setbacks, and failures indicating that you're being protected and promoted? If you're not making mistakes, then God has made the mistake. You shouldn't be here. Things are not stacked up against you. The wind is behind you. And things aren't going wrong. The omniscient, all-powerful, all-knowing is indicating to you, you have a better place to be, a better situation. And the dis-ease that is caused by the setback, failures, and mistakes are an opportunity to get to the better place, the better position in an accelerated manner by continuing to have good behaviors and to ask for help and to give help to others. The mindset of the question is the problem, but it also is the answer. That depression is the way that you see things and the meaning that you're giving the defined moments of the past, the inflection points, the historical relevance of certain occurrences or even traumas can be seen to get you up, get you back up, get you started, get you back started, accelerate you in a trajectory to a better place, a better position, or you can be a victim and be punished by the exact same thing that happens every day, but just in a multitude of quantified occurrences for those people that live outside of depression and live in a positive perception. It is not something that can be healed overnight. So I'm not the person to tell someone that is suffering from depression and sees that they're stuck and that everything is against them and that they are a victim and being punished, that somehow by telling a person like that, hey man, just look at the glass half full, you'll be fine. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying that today is the first day that you're going to recognize that you need to start looking. You start doing and saying and thinking and believing and feeling the light, the love, and the lessons in every situation, circumstance, event, or person, and start taking control through responsibility, through attraction, and the participation in the perception of the forgiveness that's necessary to live in gratitude. Today is the first day, and we can quantify our progress by the amount of time that we're spent in depression. And so if we now shift our perspective to saying, you know what, I spent days, weeks, months, and years in depression. Tomorrow I'm going to spend less time in depression, and I'm going to reverse the trend, and I'm going to start building the muscle and the discipline and the habits necessary to accelerate in the trajectory that I think I want, not into the trajectory of what other people want for me, what's missing or what I don't have, or being stuck. Things are stacked against you. That sounds like you have a lot of options, opportunities, and touches of favor ahead of you. And we have a lot of lessons to learn to indicate how to get there. But it's not going to happen overnight. So the first thing I would say is that if the depression that you have, quantify it, identify it, and change your trajectory, knowing that progress is not something that we're capable of seeing day by day, but it is something that we can quantify every New Year's or quarter, or maybe even every month. And if you utilize what I am doing, saying, thinking, believing, and feeling today, and aligning it with a meaning that you're giving it from your past, the inflection points, defined moments, or historical relevance of promotion and protection, that each day you will progress. And slowly but surely, the depression, the interference, will dissipate, dissolve, and soon disappear. And things will get easier. And you'll realize that it was the wind behind me that allowed me to learn what I needed to learn, and utilize that wind now, not to get over, under, through, or around, to fight through, but instead to create dis-ease of ease, to be able to identify what's putting us at dis-ease and get rid of it. So let's change the way that you look at things. We're not going to get out of depression in one day, but we will get out of depression day by day by identifying what we're doing to put ourselves at dis-ease, what's interfering with our potential, what's interfering with the omniscient, all-powerful, all-knowing source that loves us more than our mom, that would not punish us and stack things against us, but will utilize opportunities, options, and touches of favor to indicate to us that we have something to learn to get to the better place, the better position, which is already are. You are happy, healthy, wealthy, and worthy. Let's figure out what you're doing to interfere with it. What a great question. Thank you so much, because I know so many of us don't understand depression, anxiety, or fear as an opportunity, option, and touch of favor to indicate how we can get to a better place, a better position, or to clear the interference between us and what our potential is. Happiness, health, wealth, worthiness, etc. All right, Jake, why don't you go ahead, quickly reset the room, and also bring up the next question, either here or there or anywhere.
Will do. Thank you so much, Dave. Quickly resetting the room here. We're in Breakfast with Champions. Today is Friday, January 6th, and today's training that Dave's been doing for over 23 years is BYOQ. So you bring your questions, Dave will bring the answers. If you have a question you'd like to ask here on Clubhouse, just feel free to raise your hand and then back channel me, and we will aim to bring you up. Let's also take a second here. Let's share the room. We want to share it with as many people as possible. You can push the arrow at the bottom with a square. You can share it via Twitter, Facebook, messages. You can share it on Clubhouse. Let's continue to share the room here. And let's bring up some more questions. I know a lot of people are here to ask. So let's start with Gigi. Gigi, if you want to unmute yourself, welcome to the clubhouse.
Hi, hello, hi Dave, I miss you and happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.
So I have two questions for you, and I love your last video about New Year's resolutions. So one is, what is the biggest lesson you learned last year? And the second one is, do you have any words for this year that's like guiding you?
I love it. In fact, I was blessed to spend New Year's Eve with some of our friends, John Gordon and Teddy Mellencamp, Edwin Ariave, Ed Milet. And that's the exact exercise that they thought of. What is your word for the year and what is your lesson? For me, my biggest takeaway for the year is probably one that confuses a lot of people, including internally and my family and my friends and our team here. But it's time is the dependent variable, the quantitative variable of all matter, subjective matter and objective matter. And the best example that I can think of to explain what I'm trying to say, and I utilize that takeaway in the last answer about depression, to utilize time as a dependent variable to analyze the quantitative progress that I'm making in my journey to be happy, to clear the interference or depression from my life. But take something even more ethereal, like guilt. How do you quantify guilt? Guilt is the ego-based consciousness that interferes with our potential. It slows us down in the acceleration and the trajectory of what we think we want. And so my takeaway was trying to figure out, how can I teach people, empower them to progress whatever interference they're most prominent in their life? How can I teach them to progress if they can't be aware of progression? And if you're not aware of progression, then you will then quit good behavior and you won't stop bad behavior. And time became that dependent variable. Time allowed me to say, you know what, I felt guilty for an hour and a half yesterday. I'm going to see if I can progress and only feel guilty for an hour and 29 minutes. I know that sounds silly, but we can get a participation or perception of that participation by actually saying, gosh, less of the time I was in interference, with a need to be guilty or resentful or offended or a combination thereof. And when we get into a mindset and a practice of progressing and quantifying it with time, we actually are encouraged to stay on course, to continue to progress and to create behaviors that are positive or in a trajectory of what we think we want. So my biggest takeaway is to understand and quantify my day with all behaviors to see or create awareness of a quantitative measure of progress. Because what I have found is that if we can be aware of progress, that will continue good behavior. And good behavior is an energy, just like money, just like mindset. It's an energy, just like emotion, energy, emotion, that aggregates, compounds, and accelerates upon itself. And so if I can help people or empower them to continue good behaviors, which is counterintuitive, because what happens with good behaviors, like working out, is a week later, we don't see any progress, so we quit. And so what do? We just continue not to work out, which is a bad behavior. And we see the exact same result because we're unaware of the result. But at the end of the year, we would have seen, if we continue the good behavior and use time as a quantifiable dependent variable of working out, at the end of the year, we would have seen a quantitative result if we would have continued. But since we didn't see an instant result, we stopped. And because we didn't see an instant result of the bad behavior, we're now 5 to 10 pounds more. Our heart has more blockage in it, or whatever else happens. We basically, at a higher level, we're more at dis-ease. And so my takeaway is to understand, how do I empower people to progress in the trajectory of what they think they want, to aggregate good behavior in that same direction, and to aggregate the meaning of the past in order to facilitate the acceleration in statistical success as well, instead of creating more dis-ease. The word for my year, for this year, is forgiveness. Each year that goes by, I start realizing, if my faith tells me that I'm connected to and through an omniscient, all-powerful, all-knowing source that loves me more than my mom, that I'm being protected and promoted at all time. And my objective and my paradigm shift in my life is, I am happy, healthy, wealthy, and worthy. What am I doing to interfere with it? the most powerful tool in my tool belt is forgiveness. And the more I understand forgiveness and be able to love those people that attack me and forgive myself for not understanding them and creating more interference or acceleration in the wrong direction or more resistance or more shortages, voids, obstacles into my life by not understanding myself, forgiveness, and to utilize forgiveness as a tool in which clears the interference or shifts that paradigm to help me understand my potential, an unlimited, infinite potential that exists in the future, limited only by the 24 hours of today, that I need to be as productive, accessible, and gracious, aligned with that infinite trajectory that I want to accelerate on. And also using forgiveness for the past. Forgiveness is that tool that allows me to give the meaning of the past in order to effectuate an acceleration of my future in a trajectory of what I think I want. So take my bankruptcy, for example, Gigi. In 2008, I lost over $100 million, and I could have continued to beat myself up and create bad behaviors that probably would have ended up for certain in divorce and most likely in death and depression. But instead, I utilize the mindset, heart set, and handset that we're discussing today as forgiveness is a tool in forgiving myself and taking accountability in the realm of I am responsible for me losing all my money. I did attract these people, places, circumstances, ideas, business deals, etc., that eventually evolved into me losing everything. And I am participating in a perception that I'm going to a better place, a better position, or being into a better situation because of it. I'm being protected and promoted. That's the meaning I give my bankruptcy. Did it happen overnight, just like my friend who's asking about getting out of depression? No. But luckily, subconsciously and unconsciously, I utilized my faith and applied it to the behaviors that were necessary in order for me to get to the better place, the better position, and better situation that I am in today. This is the secret of forgiveness. Forgiveness is the greatest weapon of love, light, and lessons that there is. And forgiveness is always with you. And start by forgiving yourself so you can give it to others, even if people are judging you, laughing at you, scoffing at you, and making fun of you. One of the things I learned about forgiveness for people who are attacking me or limiting me or judging me or laughing at me is that it was really interesting as I realized, that I want to be continually pursuing my potential or climbing the mountain of potential without starting at the bottom of the hill every day. And so I utilize 5 daily practices in order to do that in a trajectory of what I think I want. So if I'm at base camp 5, I want to get to base camp 6. But in order to get to base camp 6, I need to know what I want today aligned with base camp 6, personally, experientially, giving and receiving wise. And I need to know who can help me get to base camp 6. And believe it or not, the best people that can help me get to base camp 6 are the people at base camp 6. And then I also know that in order to also create statistical success and acceleration, I need to know who can I help get to base camp 5. That's going to help me get to base camp 6 as well. But the interesting thing that I learned in the context of forgiveness is that all the people at base camp 6, when I ask them for help, are extremely abundant. They're extremely encouraging. It's amazing how many people that are at the base camp in front of you are willing to help you and encourage you, and it's so positive without judgments, conditions. They're not laughing at you. What they're telling you is you can do it. The Amelias of the world, all of these people, they're telling you, you can do it. You come with me, come up to base camp 5, come, the people at base camp 6 are saying, Dave, you can do this. They're encouraging me. They're positive. And guess who's telling me I can't make it to base camp 6? Guess who's laughing at me and scoffing at me and making fun of me and saying things behind our back, cheating, manipulating, and stealing from us and telling us you can't do it? It's really funny. I realized nobody at base camp 6 is telling me that. It's all the people at base camp 4, 3, 2, and 1. Isn't that interesting? Look towards those people, know what you want and who can help you and who you can help bring up to base camp 5. And then you will be able to be productive, accessible, and gracious, and know how you're going to get it done by utilizing time as a dependent variable, a quantifiable measure, by studying, by giving attention and intention to the coincidences that you want to get to base camp 6. Then you'll know to prioritize what's planned, what's not planned, and even your sleep. You'll know to prioritize the activity you get paid for and the activity you don't get paid for. Align what's important to you on your journey to base camp 6 without judgment condition of those people at base camp 4, 3, 2, and 1 telling you you can't do it, laughing at you, scoffing at you, and make fun of you, which will be the same people, by the way, that will applaud you when you do get to base camp 6 and ask you for a job or ask you for help after making it difficult on you. Remember, forgiveness will get you there. Just forgive the people at base camp 4, 3, 2, and 1. Forgive yourself for any time you think about what you don't want or can't do or listen to them. Just forgive them. Forgive your past. Give it the meaning of base camp 6. And I promise you, you will live in intellect, intuition, and inspiration. You will have insight to what it takes to get to base camp 6. Forgiveness is my word for the year. And my lesson from last year is that time allows, as a quantifiable measure, to be a dependent variable in which to indicate progress of all matter, subjective matter and objective matter. I love the question. I love you, Gigi. Thank you so much for allowing everyone to know what we're listening for. And Jake, why don't you go ahead and reset the room?
Thank you, Gigi, for that question. Thank you, Dave, for that answer. Quickly resetting the room here on Clubhouse and David's training. We are in the Breakfast with Champions. Dave's been doing training for over 23 years. Today's training topic is BYOQ. You bring the question, Dave will bring the answer. If you don't have time to ask a question today or want to just reach out to David separately, you can email him. It's david@dmeltzer.com. david@dmeltzer.com. Looks like we got about 36 minutes left here for some question and answer. So with that in mind, Dave, I got a question from Jennifer. Jennifer, thank you for your patience. If you want to unmute yourself here on Clubhouse, feel free to ask your question. Welcome.
Hey, good morning. Thanks so much for having me up, Jake and David. I love that you are just so willing and open to take the world on and it's really fantastic to be in the room. As always, I'm a regular listener. So my question for you today is, if there is one thing for the rest of your life that you could be doing to bring the most value to the world, what would it be?
I love that question. Thank you so much for being part of the community and participating in the community so often. I know it's going to be counterintuitive to people, but I believe the best thing that I can do for the world is ask for help. And it's counterintuitive because most people live in appreciation and acknowledgement, and they don't live in the world of asking. And it's been the biggest interference in my life. See, I have and know with faith that things come through me in an abundant way. And so the more that I can get over my arrogance and insecurity of asking for help, the more I'll be able to help others. And so if I could do one thing, it would be to ask for more help more often so that I myself can help more people more often. And if I could do one thing the rest of my life, it would be to find all the people that sit in this situation that are sitting at base camp 6 today and ask them for help. And when I get there, ask them for help to base camp 7 and be able to help all the people in base camp 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 to get to where they want to be. but it won't happen unless I ask for help. So if I could do just one thing, it would be to find those people in the situation that I want to be in and ask them for help. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, you're too kind. All right, everyone. By the way, if you want the 5 daily practices, it's something along with my book that I give away, and it's having a true impact by giving people a template, a pragmatic guidebook in order to get to your next base camp. So knowing your what, your who, your how, and your now allows you to apply your why with intellect, intuition, and inspiration. I'm happy as always to pay for my book, send to pay for shipping. Ebooks, audiobooks are easy, but I'll sign a book, send it to you, pay for shipping in the book, along with the 5 daily practices that you can use as your guide to the next base camp. A very simple guide to allow you to know what's important to you and execute on that. Jake, you still here?
I am still here. Hey, Dave.
Hey, can we bring up the next question?
Let's do it, Dave. You want to take a question on Zoom, and then we'll bring someone up here on Clubhouse afterwards?
Yeah, I got tons of questions here. So I thank that opportunity. I thank everyone for putting in their questions on TikTok, IG, Zoom. Blessed to have today, believe it or not, Jake, after 23 years, it'll be 24 in October, over 80,000 people registered for training from Clubhouse to Zoom to IG to TikTok. And we're blessed to have that many people in our Breakfast of Champion Community Friday training, which I've reconciled into so many different places. I'm going to take this question. At what stage do you ask closed-ended questions in the sales process? So there's only a few closed-ended questions that I ask. My first open-ended questions are to determine whether someone has an open mind, because I know not only do people with open minds have open hearts and open hands, but they also surround themselves with more people with open hearts and open hands as well. And when I find an open mind, I simply ask them either generally what they do or what they're doing today, or specifically what they're doing today pertaining to what I'm selling. So if I'm selling solar, I might say, hey, what are you doing today with solar? And then they answer that question. And as I determine if they have an open mind or not by the answer of that question or previous questions that I'd asked, I have now increased my statistical success exponentially. Then I ask another open-ended question when I find out what someone's doing today pertaining to what I'm selling. I ask him, what do you like about solar? And I listen to what they say about what they like. And then I say, is there anything else you like? And I let them continue on if so. And then I ask, what don't you like? Or what confuses you about solar? And then I listen to that. Now I'm prepared to ask one of the closed-ended questions, which is, would it help you if? See, a closed-ended question is something that you can answer yes or no to after gathering the data of allowing someone to share their perspective of an open-ended question. And when I share that perspective with credibility and emotional attachment, I now can quantify and articulate a quantification via a question more than I'm asking for. Would it help you if I introduce you to this person? Would it help you if I supplied you a mechanism to lower your electric bill $500? Would I help you if I could do that by financing it? Whatever it may be in the sales process, by using the features and benefits as an arsenal, not as a capability to oversell, back end sell, lie, manipulate, and cheat someone, but instead to use it as an arsenal to articulate the value to exceed what you're asking for by aligning it to either give more of what people like or take away more of what people don't like. One simple closed-ended question that requires a lot of attention and intention and a lot of listening to understand where somebody is and meet them there and provide and articulate value to where they are today. So that closed-ended question is, once again, would it help you if? And then there's only one other closed-ended question that I ask. Do you know anyone that can help me? Either yes or no. Do you know anyone that can help me? I'm looking to provide this quantitative value to as many people that you know. Do you know anyone that can help me? And a person with an open mind, open heart, open hands, know other people with open hearts, open hands, and open minds, which gives you even greater statistical success as well as efficiency in the sales process. Those are the only two questions I know. Do you know anyone that can help me? And would it help you if? It takes a lot of work and practice to get to that. And if anybody wants this open-ended, closed-ended question guide that I give, which I train throughout the world to build big sales forces by having a simple approach of teaching people how to trust and vet an open mind, and then facilitate a learning process of what they are doing today concerning what you're selling by asking an open question of what they like and what they don't like, and being able to be qualified to know your product, service, solution, or brand well enough to use the features and benefits as an arsenal to articulate a quantitative value aligned with either giving them more of what they like or taking away more of what they don't like. And when you can create a capability of articulation with a closed-ended question that incorporates that, which would be, would it help you if, in the format of a closed-ended question, the statistical success combined with being able to teach people how to get people to call you back, because that's the overlooked secret sauce in sales, is teaching people how to get people to either email you back, call you back, DM you back, or answer you and get back to you. Because remember, as much as I can teach you to sell better, the easiest and fastest way to allow you to be more successful is to have more people get back to you, because over 80% of the people don't get back to you. So if I can increase the number of people that get back to you, regardless of making you a better salesperson, you will have that percentage of statistical success that's equal to the number of people that get back to you. And what happens is, if I get more people to get back to you, you then have more opportunities, more at-bats, more options, and more touches of favor that exist. And so inherent in the statistical success becomes an acceleration, because through practice and progress of doing the same things over and over again, by getting more at bats, you get better at sales. So people ask me, what's the easiest way to increase my sales? It's one, get people to call you back, and two, learn the open-ended question, closed-ended question guide. And I'm happy to send those to you. Great question. Very simple things come from very complex philosophies. If you can't articulate it simply, if it doesn't make sense, then you don't know it well enough. Be a teacher, a mentor, and a coach. Bring the best out of people. Help them get to where you are by giving them instructions and guides, and then learn to explain things simply, meeting people where they're at in order to teach them. 3 different capabilities that are necessary to be an intelligent follower, which a lot of people define as a leader. Jake, you're a great young leader yourself, because you are a mentor, a coach, and a teacher at such a young age as a young executive in my company. Please, let's bring somebody else for another great example of what we're listening for.
Let's do it. It looks like Monica. Monica, welcome to the BroomYard Clubhouse. If you want to unmute yourself and ask Dave a question, welcome.
Okay, great. So I'm driving. Okay.
Yeah, we can. Thank you for joining us.
Or getting out of your head about it. I struggle with that. I think probably a lot of people do. It's not losing faith. They're not losing the hope of, you did it before, you can do it again kind of thing. But, what would you say to someone like that?
I'd say let's look at time as the dependent variable of all matter. And whenever someone tells me about downturns, I think about Michael Jordan. And Michael Jordan can arguably be called the greatest basketball player of all time, but I call him the greatest competitor of all time because he understood time. And one of the greatest quotes that Michael Jordan had that's applicable to downturns is that Michael Jordan always says, "I never lost a basketball game." What do you mean, Michael? You never lost a basketball game? Come on, man. Yeah, I just ran out of time. And when games are put arbitrary and capricious limitations on them, we can't acknowledge the progress that we're making because we're taking an arbitrary and capricious look via a dependent variable called time of each month, each quarter, or even each year, determined upon what we're trying to achieve. And so many times, especially in business, people will look at an arbitrary and capricious time frame in an infinite world of time and say this is a downturn. And then 2 days later, you know, I had a circumstance where I went a quarter and I was losing money. In 3 months in a row, an arbitrary capricious time frame of a month and incorporation of the businesses that I was doing, 3 months in a row, I lost money. And other people would see that as a downturn. They would start looking and creating resistance by being anxious, frustrated, offended, scared, all the different things that we do to slow down my progress that I was making but unaware of. But instead, I continue to have faith that I'm being protected and promoted and that I'm making the progress because I'm utilizing the daily practices in the trajectory of making more money, helping more people, and having more fun. And 2 days after the quarter, I created more revenue than I did the entire year before. And all of a sudden, everyone else in my company thought there was a huge upturn, that somehow in the last 3 days that my behaviors had changed in order to facilitate an extraordinary windfall. No, it was just, I continued with faith to have the progress that I wanted by continually getting better at the behaviors that were aligned with the trajectory where I think I wanted the company to be. And I gave meaning to the past, yesterday, the week before, the month before, the quarter before, in order to facilitate an acceleration in statistical success in that trajectory, not create resistance, void, shortages, and obstacles by listening to what I didn't want, what I was afraid of, or what other people were saying. So what I want you to do is take things in the context of behaviors and progress. That will help faith not only be incorporated in what you do, but reaffirm and reconfirm the behaviors are an aggregate of where you get. And that although we can't always be aware of the progress that we're making, we can't be aware of the options, opportunities, and touches of favor that we have created that have not availed themselves in some sort of coincidence, that if we continue to get better at the behaviors and progress towards a trajectory of what we think we want by utilizing the daily practices of what, who, how, and now, and applying our why each day with faith that I am happy, healthy, wealthy, and worldly. I live in an abundant world of more than enough, that when I appreciate something, I add value. When I acknowledge it, acquire the knowledge of it by giving it away, losing it, having it stolen, manipulated, or cheated from me, I have an add value. And when I ask for more, I add value. I live in an add value world. It's just a matter of time until it quantifies itself or manifests itself to where I want to be or better. And that's what occurs in my career, in my personal relationships, and in my health. Am I perfect? Absolutely not. Every single day I spend interfering with my potential. The only difference is instead of spending days, weeks, months, and years interfering with it, I spend minutes and moments practicing, identify what am I doing to interfere with this unbelievable potential that I have, and right, I identify it and how can I utilize it, either to get me up, get me started, get me back started, or get out of my own way. And I want everyone really to reflect on what they're doing, saying, thinking, believing, and feeling. Is it in the trajectory of what you think you want? And do you have your own value daily practices and execution model in order to effectuate it with acceleration, growth, statistical success? Behaviors create progress. Good behaviors create good progress. Bad behaviors create bad progress. Progress cannot be seen, heard, tasted, or touched. It takes time in order for us to be able to see it, hear it, taste it, touch it, quantify it. You have to have faith that by utilizing your best behavior, that it will aggregate and progress to an identifiable, quantifiable result someday. And that you have a very simple choice. Do I want to accelerate into a trajectory of what I think I want or better? Or do I want to accelerate in a trajectory away from what I think I want or better? and it's all behavior. And so whether it's your values and practices and execution that needs to be worked upon, it always has to be aligned with, by utilizing what you do, say, think, believe, and feel with the trajectory of what you think you want, and identify the practices that are aligned and identify the practices or behaviors that aren't. It's mathematical to me. And it does take coherence and discipline. You are human. It takes a lot of forgiveness, because I'm going to repeat myself. If you're not making mistakes, then God made the mistake. You shouldn't be here. So rejoice in it, forgive yourself, and keep on accelerating towards what you think you want. Monica, thank you so much for joining us in your car. Everyone with the Breakfast of Champions, thank you guys so much for allowing me to learn what people are listening for and be able to process and articulate different advancements for not only myself, but for others. Jake, why don't we go ahead and reset the room? I'm happy to send those practices or whatever you need. So make sure you DM me, email me, contact me, back channel me, whatever definition of getting back to me, get back to me as well. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Monica, for that question. As Dave mentioned, if you want any of his trainings or guides or even a free book, just email him. His email is david@dmeltzer.com, david@dmeltzer.com. That's Meltzer like seltzer with an M. This has been a great training so far. Thank you, everyone, for joining for the BYOQ. We have 17 minutes left here, so let's continue to share the room here. You can do that at the bottom. There's a square with an arrow. Let's continue to share the room. And as mentioned at the beginning, David is going to do a live meetup today at 11 a.m. Pacific time at Blue Wire Studios at the Wynn in Las Vegas at 11 a.m. Pacific time. If anyone can make it or has any questions, just feel free to email David. We would love to see you guys. And yeah, with that mentioned, we got some people waiting in line to ask their question, but we actually have a question on TikTok, Dave, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, sure. Just remind everyone, because the Wynn's a big place. It's in the lobby of the Wynn by the buffet. Our studio's probably one of the nicest ones in the country, let alone Las Vegas. It's a lot of fun. So love for you to come by. We're going to do a lot of networking, answer questions, of course, pictures, signed books, whatever you need. So we have so much fun there. Anyone that's in CES in Vegas, please come by. But go ahead, Jake. Give me the question.
Perfect. Yes, the question on TikTok, it's from TikToker Official NATO. It is, how do you patent your product?
How do I patent my product? I go online, or I ask someone if they know a good patent attorney and ask for help. So there's tons of places, services, etc., to create either utility patent or other patents. And the easiest and fastest way is to ask people, do you know anyone that can help me? Find people who sit in a situation who have the type of patent that you're looking for, and ask them who they use and what they liked about who they used and what they didn't like about who they used. And do you know anyone that can help me? So that's a perfect example of utilizing open-ended questions. And it's so easy to find people who have patents and ask them for help, and go ahead and trust and vet the people that they have referred to you, and use your intuition when something feels off to ask more questions, harder questions. Doesn't mean you shouldn't use them, but it does mean when you have a gut feeling that something's off, that you should be vetting harder, which is just a form of trust. When we ask people hard questions, we actually trust that they're telling the truth. And that's why we ask hard questions. We just need a clarification of the truthful communication that they're having with us. Very good question. Sometimes you find what people are listening for with the simplest questions, but yet they illustrate the overall philosophies, mindset, heart set, and handset that you're trying to teach. That's a classic example of that. So if you need anything, then go find someone who has it, ask what they like, don't like, and if they know anyone that can help you. If you have a gut feeling who they've referred to you, or if they can help you, that something is off, that just means trust them and vet them harder. Vetting someone, asking hard questions, is a form of trust. You're trusting what they say is true. Therefore, if you don't understand it, either mindset wise, what they said or thought or whatever, or feel in your gut that it doesn't make sense, then go ahead and ask harder questions. Awesome question, Jake. Where do you want me to take the next question from?
Perfect. Let's take Sally Cologne is here in Clubhouse. Sally, if you want to unmute yourself, feel free to ask your question. Welcome.
Thank you, Jake. Thank you, David. Always enjoy this, but I just wanted to ask, as we start a new year, and I feel like everyone sort of shifts just naturally. But what would you say to someone who, sorry, I'm at the airport, wants to sort of shift a lot of what they are familiar with? Like, I'm in Puerto Rico right now. This is where I feel like my soul is, and I'm going back to LA. I don't feel super connected to like what I do there. And so I'm like in this weird kind of shifting place in my life where I don't want to go back to LA and do the same thing. I want to go back to LA and like do almost like blank slate and really get to a place that I'm connected with. So what advice would you give me?
Great question, by the way. And I think a lot of people, especially learned this through the pandemic. Remember, your frequency is your neighborhood, not your location. And so what I would do is I would look inside of myself at the skills and the knowledge and desires that I have and see how they're aligned with, synergistic to the people, the ideas, the events and activities that are available in Puerto Rico. And then I would find the same in Los Angeles. Because remember, your frequency is your neighborhood, not your location. And so that frequency that puts you at ease and allows you to apply your why and feel intellectually stimulated and intuitively enlightened, as well as inspirationally motivated or inspired, can be found anywhere, because it's your frequency that's your neighborhood, and it's your frequency that creates the coincidences, the coinciding of the people, places, circumstances, and events that best create an acceleration towards your potential. And so I would look internally at your skills, your knowledge, and your desire, which is the most pragmatic way that I help people find their essence, their vibration, or their frequency. So when we aggregate what our skills are, what our knowledge is, and what our desires are, we then can see where it's synergistic or supplementary to the location that I was, and then utilize comparative analysis to find the same people, events, ideas to surround myself with in a different location. And look, if it's easier to find things that feed you in certain locations and other locations bleed you, then you can make a pragmatic decision to spend more time in a location where it's easier to find the light, the love, and the lessons. See, there's light, love, and lessons in everything, but it doesn't mean you have to waste your time trying to re-engineer or find it when it can easily be accessible somewhere else, or with somewhere else, or from somewhere else. And I think, understanding our essence, our frequency, or our vibration is the key to creating synergy, as well as creating supplemental value to a location or a person or a place or event or activity. And so my advice for everyone who's looking at transitions where maybe they found something that resonates with them, to go ahead and analyze the skills, knowledge, and desire of what's resonating with them, and then find the same frequency in a different location, or spend more time at the location that is easiest to find that frequency. Does that sound fair?
Absolutely. Thank you. That makes sense.
Awesome. Congratulations, though. A lot of people haven't been able to find that resonation of frequency. And once you do, and you create a more pragmatic approach of awareness to it, it'll coincide with your life more and more, indeterminate upon your location. I promise you, everywhere you go, your frequency will be your neighborhood, and you'll find bigger and better neighbors that allow you and feed you, and you can feed them. So beautiful question. Jake, we got about 10 minutes left. Why don't we reset the room and take a couple more questions? Does that sound fair to you?
Sounds fair. Let's do it. Thank you so much for your question, Sally. Hope you have a safe flight. Quickly resetting the room. This is the Breakfast with Champions, David Meltzer's Hour of Power. If you have any questions, today is BYOQ. You bring the questions. Dave will bring the answers. If there's no time today to ask your question, or if you want any of David's trainings or guides, you can just email him, david@dmeltzer.com, david@dmeltzer.com. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Let's continue to share the room. You can do that at the bottom of the square with an arrow. Let's continue to share. We have 9 minutes here. So let's take questions, and let's get as many people to share as possible. So Dave, I'll pass it back over to you if you'd like to take a question on Zoom. And then when you're back, we'll bring up Creative Fun Rows when you're ready.
I love it. I got so many here. So, what's the best piece of advice you have for new parents? That's so good. Well, I have 4 children, and so it's been a while since I've been a new parent. And so, please ask, take my advice, and then apply it, and ask a lot of new parents for advice, because I think things change so quickly and accelerate so quickly that my advice may or may not be applicable today. Um, but the best piece of advice that I got that I believe is timeless is love your baby. Don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. Whatever decisions you make it out of love. Do your best, learn lessons, and have fun with it, but do it out of love. After 4 children and a lot of lessons and a lot of proof that God did make a mistake for me being here, because I still make so many mistakes. I probably have not made more mistakes other than being a parent. But I'll tell you one thing I stayed consistent in during my mistakes of being a parent is loving my children. But for my children, I would not have faith. It's important to understand for me, and I think the level when I became a parent and I thought about all I need to do is love this child, and I started to realize how much I love my children, and the fear that was created because I knew that my capabilities were not to a level to protect and promote my children the way that I would like to. When I realized that, I realized that there was something, a father, a parent to me, that was omniscient, all powerful, and all knowing the way that I would love to be for my children, that understood the infinity of time and the infinity of abundance, that could forgive even the fiercest hate, attack, judgments, and conditions. And that this source, this omniscient, all powerful, all knowing source that I wish I could be to my children, because I could only be a resource to them, a resource, a part and parcel of the source, but a resource to my children. As much as I love them and had a desire to protect and promote them, but yet was so afraid that I don't have the capabilities that I needed in order to effectuate how much I want to protect and promote my children. My faith was derived from that belief, from that feeling of love, that all I want to do is protect and promote my children. But I am blessed because there is an omniscient, all powerful, all knowing source that I am a resource of, and my children are a resource of, that loves me and my children more. It's amazing. And it knows everything and has all power and is omniscient. Therefore, when they make their mistakes, when they have setbacks, failures, and pain in their life, when they have dis-ease in their life, I know they're being protected and promoted, and that I am only a resource to help protect and promote, but I am of full faith that there is an omniscient, all-powerful, all-knowing source that loves them more than I love them. And that to me is the essence of being a parent, to love your children and to teach them that there's something greater than you that loves them greater than you. I don't care what religion, philosophy, theories, science that you believe in, you better believe. If you want to accelerate in the trajectory, if you want to be happy, healthy, wealthy, and worthy, or realize you are and figure out what you're doing to interference, you have to somehow have faith there's something bigger than you that loves you and your children more. What a great question. And if you are becoming a new parent, God bless you. It's the greatest experience. The co-creation experience is unbelievable. And I will pray for your health, happiness, worthiness, and wealth for you and your children. And please put faith in a source that's greater than you, that loves you and your children more. Jake, we have time for one more question. What do you think?
I think that's a great plan. Let's do it. We've got a creative, fun Rose who's been waiting patiently. Rose Delgado, welcome to the clubhouse. If you want to unmute yourself and ask your question, welcome.
Good morning. Good morning. And first of all, your answer to that question was so amazing. I think every parent and every child needs to hear that. You should make some type of quote about it. It's just perfect. I wanted to lean in a little bit to your answer about depression earlier and ask you if there was any other advice you'd give, especially to, as we all know, and it's such a stigma, I'm just going to say it, women in menopause or women like myself in their 40s that are surgery-induced menopause, and how we can help with that, because some of the behaviors such as hot flashes or maybe depression is not as easy to transition. And maybe it's because it's hormonally, but I just wanted to really get your advice on that, and also create less of a stigma around it, because as everybody knows, most women all go through it and it's hardly talked about. And it's a very serious situation for some people. So I just wanted to throw that out there and get your advice. Thank you so much, and one love.
One love, and thank you for bringing this issue up and understanding it only as a husband, but understanding it at a different level. So depression comes in 3 different consciousness. One is our physical consciousness, which is biochemical in nature, and we have to meet it at that level. And so menopause has obviously a biochemical resolve to put you at ease, and we have to deal with it at that level. And then some depression occurs at a subconscious level. So through the continual experience of menopause, we may have neural pathways form that make it even easier for this dis-ease to occur. And then we have an energetic and genetic inheritance, energetic and genetic inheritance that we're programmed. It's our DNA and the epigenetic layer of the DNA that activates what I call our unconscious competency that can be seen through genetics from 4 generations. So if your great-grandma, your grandma, and your mom had menopause, you have a higher statistical success of being at dis-ease. And so in order to progress or put you at ease, we have to find the best solution for us consciously. Could be medication, it could be meditation, I don't know, but I would find someone that has that expertise, or many people that have that expertise, and ask them for help. And then we have to look and see the habitual repetition of certain manifestations of this dis-ease called menopause. Hot flashes may be one, that we want to stop creating the neural pathway and make it more difficult subconsciously to have this occur, this dis-ease. And then we also want to work on the unconscious competency by utilizing modalities of energetic and genetic modalities that I practice for unconscious competency of clearing interference or dis-ease, utilizing light and energy. And that's called Cancel, Clear, and Connect. So I will send you my book, or anyone, please email me, because I believe Cancel will help with the conscious, Clear with the subconscious, and Connecting will help with the unconscious competency, the genetic and energetic inheritance of any dis-ease, including menopause. And so I go through extensive practices in my book to help everyone, called Connected to Goodness. And I send it for free. I sign it. I pay for shipping in the book so that I can help people put themselves at ease and empower other people to do the same, which allows you then to make a lot of money, help a lot of people, and have a lot of fun. So please reach out to me. Email me, david@dmeltzer.com. We'll put that contacts everywhere. It's free. If it's free, it's we, especially here on the Breakfast of Champions. It's 8:01. I went over the time. Thank you for your patience, everyone, for me taking a minute extra of your time, but that was an important answer I wanted to give. I love you all. Please be more interested than interesting. If you're in Las Vegas at CES, come see me at 11 a.m. in the lobby of the hotel at my studio, the Blue Wire Studios, in the lobby of the Wynn Hotel next to the buffet. You can't miss us. We're going to have a lot of fun. Jake, close out the room. I love you all. Thank you so much. And happy birthday, Jakey Bakey.
Happy birthday, Jake, and thank you, David.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you for those incredible.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Please come see me today at the Wynn. If you want any of those practices, guides, books, exercises, if it's free, it's me. Email me, or if it's free, it's we. Email me. David, it's right here, david@dmeltzer.com. Please email me. If you forget my email address, go